All aboard! Welcome to the All Aboard podcast. I am your host, Brandon DeFreitas. I am finally joined by an esteemed guest, Will Travers. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you? How's everyone doing on a nice Friday?
I'm doing great. I feel like this is probably the last weekend before things get nuts in our line of work. So, I'm enjoying myself and ready to enjoy a little wild card weekend.
I know. Couldn't be more stoked for the 5 games. We got a Monday night game too, which is incredible.
You know what I hadn't thought of is like, doesn't that Monday night game put another team or put that team at a disadvantage? I guess they could schedule it differently, but then you have like one less day of rest, even more so than usual. Like, I know it's great for ratings and money, and that's all that really matters, but it does seem like a team in the Monday night game is going to have a disadvantage going into next week.
Yeah, I actually never thought about that. I wonder if they'll consider that movement. I guess they won't have a Monday night game next week, so who knows?
Right. Yeah. Maybe there'll be the late Sunday game or what have you, but I'm definitely ready to go. I used to always get one of those Heineken mini kegs for every wild card weekend and just watch every single game. I'm a little bit, I have a little bit more responsibilities now, so I'll catch most of them, but certainly not a mini keg weekend for myself.
Oh, come on. I think it's a mini keg. I haven't drink. I'm doing I guess sober January. Clean the palate, but it's
There you
every
go.
playoff game the Patriots are in. No rules.
Just,
So I'll get
just,
7 mini kegs.
just the Patriots. Can you expand that like a few hours before game time too?
Yeah, I just canceled the whole day. So tomorrow, 8 a.m. Who knows what I'll be up to?
Solid.
But it'll be
Good
a fun day.
stuff.
Four
Well,
and a
let's
half's the line. So
four
hopefully we can.
4.5. Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be a pretty close game either way.
I don't. I'm hoping the Pats win, but I'm not. I'm not too confident. Who knows?
Oh, cold weather though. We'll see. Maybe they'll slow the offenses down.
Yeah, keep Mac to no passes again. We'll see what happens.
Hey, I'll take it. They got a W. But I want to hop in here because you've been trying to get this for a while. Share your thoughts. Of all of every single one of us is new to a dynasty league except for yourself. You've been in for a long time. I remember seeing your Excel spreadsheets back in the day. You had like salary caps and everything. So we've wanted to get you lined up, share your rules. I feel like you and I have sparred back and forth on some on the message board too. So I'm excited to kind of hear from you. And I've seen your list too, like certain rules and ideas you have about how we can improve the dynasty league.
Yeah, I've kind of jotted down some notes throughout the year on what I think might benefit the league in general. Because yeah, like you said, I've been in Dynasty League for eternity now, and it's crazy. It's actually I'm actually like relieved that this league isn't this crazy. I don't have to deal with salary caps and all these
Mhm.
expiring contracts, and then running out of money. And now the rules get crazier every year in the other league
Yeah.
I'm in, and to the point everyone hates each other. Just like fantasy football should be, just a bunch of guys who just can't stand each other anymore because of fantasy football. Love
That's
it.
what I'm that's what I'm trying to avoid because my original home league, we've had a lot of people leave over time, and like it just got to the point where it was contentious, and like it's not fun when it's contentious. Like maybe it is a little bit, but like I don't want people feeling too upset.
Yeah, I guess the number one takeaway is no changing things or sweeping the rug up beneath someone's feet. That drives
Yeah.
people nuts. And then just like making sure everyone has a voice in the vote. And then usually that'll do it. Majority kind of wins at the end of the day.
Yeah. Agreed. Well, let's toss out an idea. What do you got first on your agenda here?
All right. First thing I'm gonna go over like kind of I don't even know why I call it the economics of the league, but it's kind of like the macro eco of the league.
Yeah.
Since we have this is unique, I've never been in the league, a super flex with like 100 extra flexes. I
Yeah.
know I know you, Brandon, you're always talking about like, hey, we want trades, we want activity. I think to do that, we should take some of those extra flexes we have and make them actual position players. So
Yeah.
then, because I can just all you really need is to fill two running backs, two wide receivers, and then you could have five running backs in the flex or something like that, where your team's really not balanced at all, but it plays because you have just as many flex spots pretty much as regular positions. So say we change some of those flexes to, add an extra WR, extra RB minus 2 flexes, teams are going to have to start trading more because they're not going to have all the options. They're not going to be able to buy weeks. They're not going to be able to just throw anything out there.
Yeah. I'm definitely like open to considering that going forward because I know, like, I don't know, like you said, like you want to promote trades and activity. We want people to have to make moves in a dynasty. So definitely open to the league getting and I should say, like, the stuff we're discussing here, we want you guys talking on the message board at later. Share your feelings too, because it's just Travers throwing out stuff, me giving my opinion, but like end of the day, like you said, like should be an equal vote league, majority rules. So I want to hear what everyone thinks. Yeah, that could, because I know Travers, my team, I have a whole bunch of running backs, and that's kind of like how I'm filling my flex spots. But it would like force me to like make moves for extra receiving depth, you know.
Yeah, I'm the exact opposite. I just run all wide receivers, and then like there are weeks starting like backup running backs on teams, but that's who cares because I only need to fill one running back spot. The rest
Yeah.
can just be flex.
How'd you feel about the total startable players? Because I think we're in an interesting situation where we're 10 teams in this league. So we were trying to get it so that like your benches aren't so good that like I don't know, you're kind of bored with who you're starting. I don't know. What were your feelings on the number of players being started?
I think we could drop a flex or two just because I think then you have to put your best players forward, and it's not necessarily the guy who's super deep is necessarily gonna win out for the rest of the year or like have that edge because we're in this dynasty league. We're gonna want a bunch of development players at the end of the day, like on our bench. So if there's some guy rolling out Cole Beasley, but like me, rolling out these old timers just for the depth in it, it's working right now, but like it's kind of taken away from the stashes that are eventually gonna really start building up on our bench, especially like right now in the off season. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do with people. I have Julio Jones. Like, do I cut Julio? That's like a sin. That's like impossible. But what are you gonna do?
Right. Well, you could probably sell them to Mark, who's been collecting all the oldies anyway. But
Yeah, I
Mark,
should actually.
you should definitely reach out. Mark's listening right now, probably like already sending offers, but
Yeah,
that
his
it is
dial-up
interesting.
AOL.
Beep 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 beep. Yeah, I think this is an interesting one to consider like going forward, and one of those where like because we're so close to the startup draft, it might be like a consider like after another season or something, so people don't feel like you said, like you don't want the rug pulled out underneath you, after you recently like made like a draft, like your full startup draft and stuff. So, but this is something to consider going forward for sure, because we kind of just discussed amongst the league and we thought this is appropriate, but I do see your point and kind of agree that because of the amount of flexes, it's a little easier to fill up your lineup than it would be if it was even like 3 receiver with the 2 backs or 3 running backs, 3 receivers.
Yeah, I don't know if people are making as many tough choices as they should be. They're just playing who's available at this point. Like, oh, this
Yeah.
guy is startable. I'm gonna start him. Not
Yeah.
doing a little last minute tinker and then ruining your whole week because you made the wrong choice. Love that.
Right.
Fantasy.
Well, let's hear the message board thoughts on the starting lineup. And we're going to jump into, I'm sure this is going to be a fun one for the two of us because we've sparred on this, the off-season waiver wire. It sounds like you have some thoughts on frequency.
I think daily is too much. There's no way I'm going to get eaten alive in this league if it's daily through the off season. Because I think, especially when a lot of the NFL opens up the free agency and everything, and players are moving left and right. People are going to be hitting that waiver wire every day, and like I know someone like me, I'm not gonna be looking every day, especially in like when it starts getting nice out. I don't even think about football in May. So I would much rather have a weekly or monthly might be too much because I know everyone wants to be active, but a weekly or by twice a month kind of thing. I think that's more fair because then everyone really gets a stab at it. I know the argument is, hey, it's a dynasty league, you should be paying attention, but I know someone like me, I'm just simply not going to be paying attention as much as other people.
Yeah,
So,
I know
it'll
my
be-
brother's been on that side of the coin as well, on the message board and privately on the side too. What I'm thinking too is, like, if you look at it, like, nothing's really happened on the waiver wire since the season. It's all a bunch of garbage players so far. But you make a good point that when free agency comes, that's going to be a different thing. When the draft comes, that's a different thing. And then preseason. So maybe we could like figure out some sort of a middle ground too, where like, yeah, if you want to pick up a guy in like January, like, or February, whatever, but like maybe it's the week of free agency, we make it a week, like a once a week type thing for that first week of free agency, so you can see those dominoes fall and then make your decision. So maybe that's some sort of a middle ground we can do, while like, because what I'm trying to say is I feel like there's going to be large parts of the off season where nothing's going to change, you know?
No, it's definitely true. But free agency and then the preseason hype when everyone hits camp,
Yeah.
it's like crazy because some jamoke writes a shitty article like this wide receiver 12 on the team caught 3 passes, and everyone's like, holy shit, this guy is going to be the next Calvin.
Right.
But then
So-
like some of those guys do hit.
Yeah. So maybe it is like a weekly thing around free agency, and then like maybe like a weekly thing in the preseason or something like that, or twice a week or something. We'll workshop that and then probably bring that one to a vote too, because I could definitely see the value. And to your point, like, you know, I don't, again, to bring up my brother as an example, he's working on roofs all day. And he's not going to catch an article about like some jamoke in training camp, you know, making a play. So
Yeah.
we'll definitely consider that as an interesting one in terms of when it gets busy. I just had this thought on the side too, just like for voting, I think it's fair in terms of like majority rules, like 6 out of 10. And then what I was thinking when we had our last vote was, if there's a tie, if it's like 5 and 5, I sort of want to make it like random owner breaks the tiebreaker, if that makes sense. Random non-commissioner owner, because I already have a lot of sway in terms of like I can kind of decide what goes up for a vote and what doesn't go up for a vote, you know. So like I don't think I should be the tiebreaker, but if it's like a 5 and 5, I feel like I'm picking up a random owner out of the hat and they're the tiebreaker. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I kind of like that idea. Or maybe whoever's in last place or whoever was just in first place or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of like the random hat is actually electric. Imagine it really just comes down to like a coin toss after that.
Right. You don't know who it's going to be, but I definitely think it shouldn't be me in that case, because like I said, I mean, I have a lot of sway in terms of what I'm going to put up for vote. And I don't think it'd be fair to be the tiebreaker as well.
Yeah, true. And I guess the little things you're gonna run that anyways, but that's what a good commission does. Usually.
Yeah. Well, definitely some good thoughts there on the off season. What else do you have on your agenda?
I'm gonna bring this up even though we're probably not. Maybe we'll get here in 5 years. We'll see. If everyone has like 5-year-olds running around or something. But waiver wire, we in our other league, we freeze it. We freeze picking up waiver wire guys like pretty much all until like we have a draft in August. We'll call it drafts. We'll call it, it's like early August. Like it's not late enough where like, you know, you pick someone up and then they get hurt out for the season. That's always fun. We make it like mid-August.
Yeah.
So we do that and it works out really well because of the roller coaster of, you know, like players' value and stock pretty much. And then by the time draft comes, everyone's really like fighting for the same guys, which is nice. And then you still have your dart throws that go late round. But having the break is really nice. Having a draft every year is fun for fantasy football. I don't think anyone disagrees with that.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I actually didn't even know this was a thing until I was adjusting our draft settings the other day, and it was like include veterans, and I'm like, what? Like I didn't even know that was an option. But I'll give you a horror story of a league. My sister-in-law is in a dynasty league, and they freeze transactions, and they don't have a draft. They just open it up the morning of the rookie draft, and it's like a mad dash. It doesn't work at all. It's terrible.
That's crazy.
And she never calls me in time, so she misses all of them, and I'm like, oh geez, well, what's going on here? But yeah, no, obviously someone from my perspective, like wanting the activity year round, I would always be like, I would vote against that. But that said, an extra draft is always a ton of fun too, so I can understand that side of it.
Yeah, but that's we'll touch on that again in 5 years. We'll see where we're at.
When we all have 5-year-olds running around.
Yeah, when we'll see how busy people get later on. Next thing I wanted to talk about, we need a last place punishment. We need something, even if it's like nothing. We need something at the end of the day. I don't know what it'll be, but if anyone has thoughts, we should. This is probably the most important thing we should discuss, right?
Yeah, Tam gets a free pass, and I thought about this midseason too, and I was like, it's a little unfair to like vote on a last place punishment when like we already know, like, I mean, for half the season we knew Will Tam was going to end up in the last place spot in the league, so I was like, can't really vote for it at that point. But I agree, like it would be kind of funny. I know the ones, and I would never want to do this, but it's kind of hilarious. Have you seen those, like, you have to spend 24 hours at like a pancake shop, and like every order or like every pancake you put down reduces it by an hour or something?
That would be pretty funny.
Yeah.
I mean, if they serve beer at the pancake shop, it doesn't seem like that bad.
I feel like that's more of a thing in the South, though. Like, how many pancake? Like, we have IHOP. Like, you're not getting a beer at an IHOP.
Yeah, I think what I read, it was like a Waffle House, and I've been to a Waffle House. And tell me, they're awesome. They're incredible. I get a steak and cheese at like 2 a.m, ready to go to bed. It's perfect.
I don't think you'll be ordering a steak and cheese if you have to put down 24 waffles.
No, you just put down 10 waffles. You're there for 10 hours drinking beers.
Yeah,
not that bad.
It's funny because in my head I'm like 24 waffles. Like, I don't know, this is a super fat kid take, but I'm like 24 waffles doesn't seem like insurmountable. But like in one sitting, I'm sure it really is.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd probably start strong and then pause for a few hours and like feel like crap or something. But back to your point, I do think like a last place punishment would be a ton of fun. Someone brought up, was it Edwin midseason, like the last place team buying a jersey of the choice for the first place team, like, or something. That'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, that'd be fun. It wouldn't be as like a punishment. It's just like that's out $100 once you're gonna
right
and $60. But
yeah,
that would be nice.
You want something embarrassing.
Like it's gotta be a little embarrassing. I don't know what. Like, I don't know. In our league, we throw tomatoes at whoever comes in last place. We're trying to move away from that as we get older. But I mean, when we were 25, that was fun.
I actually remember you going to one of those events one time.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Do you remember in our baseball league with the same group of people, we had the idea that like, or maybe it was football, we were saying last place should go into the bathroom at work for an hour and just hand out towels to everyone. Like, you have to stand in the bathroom and like when people wash their hands, like be a bathroom attendant. Like, that would be
been hilarious.
Yeah.
I would be sending everyone I know to that bathroom. Like, you have to go to the 9th floor bathroom right now.
I'd be pounding Chipotle the night before just to prepare. But that, unfortunately, that's something that like we don't all work at the same place anymore. Heck, we're not even in the office, so it's not as feasible as it once was. But that would have been absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, that's a good one for sure. It is tougher to do these since we don't really see each other as much as we used to.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. We'll get ideas on the message board. Anything you got too, we'll definitely go into that. I'm looking at your list. This one, I cracked up when I saw this. You're like, lottery system needs to be changed. Excel yawn, and I feel that it was a little bit of a lame lottery this year. You want me to like invest in a bingo machine, or what are we doing?
I don't know. That one, I remember I was watching it back, and I was like, "Dude, look at these formulas. I'm just gonna hit okay." Imagine if there was like a lottery machine. I don't know what else there'd be.
Yeah.
Or like 100 golf balls. That'd be funny.
That would be pretty funny.
And you could just hit them all after, I guess. Will Tam on every single 50 golf balls.
You get Sean Peck at the range, so he's like an impartial person and see which ball he hits closest to the hole or something.
That's actually pretty good too.
Yeah. It would be unfair though if like, it'd be sweet to hit your own balls, but then you're playing to like the best golfers too at that point.
Yeah. You know what you do? We put everyone's name proportionally, like, I don't know, somewhere else in the yard, and we just have all the dogs go grab like tennis balls and come back.
Or like a kid's Easter hunt or something.
Yeah, there we go. This is stuff you gotta televise.
Yeah.
It's the Easter egg hunt for the draft. That'd be must watch TV.
Whichever Easter egg Emmy opens first and whose name is in it, like that's the first pick.
We actually did this in the other league I'm talking about. We set our schedule, and then last week of the season, the schedule wasn't set. So we picked names out of the hat week 13, and it was electric. Everyone
Oh,
was
wow.
sitting there. And we almost had the two last place teams play each other for who would get tomatoed. It came down to like there were 3 names left. We're like, oh my god, we're gonna get exactly what we wanted, and then
Wow.
but that's some electric stuff right there.
Yeah. Either way, it's some improvements we can make on the Excel. I do completely agree with that. I do want you to bring up your next one here because I'm not sure I followed it based on your notes.
Okay, with the playoffs.
The playoffs,
scenario.
yeah.
So what we've done in the past, because people have complained in the 2 dynasty leagues, instead of you have your first round buys, and then the remaining 4 people are in the playoffs round 1. So instead of playing head to head against one other dude, you just have the pool of the 4 teams, and it's an all play. So whoever the teams that score the most points out of 2 of them continue on to the next round, and then we do it again the round after until we get to the Super Bowl.
Gotcha.
So it's not head to head, but I was originally super against this. I'm like, hey, it's not football, and 2 teams play football. But it's so much better for the league because 1, it's more fair, and 2, like the scores are always like 3 teams for like who's gonna pull out here. So
Yeah.
it is super exciting, not just for like whoever's in the playoffs, but whoever's not in the playoffs watching, because a little more of an edge watching.
I guess if you're like going up against like Jamar Chase, like he was at the end of this season, like if you're in a head-to-head matchup, you're like, I'm hosed. I can't do anything about this. But under this format, maybe you still have a chance. So it's definitely interesting. I want to hear what people think about that. So because I have it's fun. Some of these you hear the first time and you do have that like, well, that's not football. Football's head to head. Like the same thing goes through my head,
Yeah, I was originally super against it, and I like fought tooth and nail, and then it happened. I'm like, oh, that actually was pretty cool.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah, so we also had, just to make it fair, I think we give home field advantage of 3 points to whoever were the higher seeds, which does even it out, because some people do complain about that. I'd be like, I was 10-2 and this guy just squeaked in.
Yeah.
That we're all in the same boat.
Right. Gotcha. Of course, especially in this league, like 6 of 10 make the playoffs, which is really more of an anti-tank like thing. So it's like you get so many people making the playoffs, so you really could have like a pretty crap team slide in and then win the championship.
Yeah.
Which would be electric too.
No, I'm an underdog guy.
Yeah.
I'm always betting the underdog.
Always for the grit. Scheduling. I know you want to talk some about scheduling. I love this, and this one I'm fully aboard, so I want you to introduce it to the league. And once you go in, I'll explain. I noticed this mid-season. I was like, my schedule I got hosed with, but continue.
Okay. So our league set up 10 person, which means we play we play everyone once, and that gets us to week 9.
Yeah.
Right? And then we have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14.
Yeah,
So we're
14.
playing,
Yeah.
we pretty much play everyone in the league once and then half the league one more time, which means that we kind of have like ghost conferences. Like you don't actually realize it, but we have like two conferences because you play your conference twice, but you play the NFC only once. So I think
Yeah.
we should take advantage of this. And what we've done in we used to have divisions. We would have a division draft where the top the top teams in the league would draft who they want in their division. So in this theory, Edwin and John, since they're in the ship guys, they would have the draft of their division next year. And usually you pick the worst teams first,
Yeah.
all the way to the
Well,
best.
Tam.
And guess what? The worst teams always end up being better than they were last year, which is great because
Yeah.
then it's just a complete crapshoot and it's a lot of fun. And now then it's like on paper on like who we're playing once or twice,
Yeah.
which is it's pretty exciting stuff.
And
But
then so
go
this
ahead.
is what you mean by the out of the hat. The final week you said is like a rivalry week, or it's like you said where you pick out of a hat, like going into the week, and that's when you said like you're just telling us the story about it being electric at the end of the season, right?
Yeah, everyone's sweating it out. They're like praying to play the worst team because the final game means so much, and
Yeah.
especially with all the tiebreakers. Yeah, I
will-
think the final week would be some kind of rivalry week in all play, or like my dream is we just fix the schedule. We just like, all right, everyone who's fighting for a playoff spot, you're all playing each other this week,
Yeah.
and that's it. Like we just break all the ties that way.
Right.
But I don't think that is fair, but it is more fun to watch.
I almost did the two conferences going into the season, and then I was like, nah, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to randomize the schedule. But my example was my particular team, granted, shouldn't have been a playoff team. The teams I played twice were all top 6 playoff teams, which like further gave me no shot of making it in. I think I played you twice, John, Edwin, Ben, and Alex. Like those are the teams I played twice, and I was like, couldn't have gotten John B or Tam, like even Jimmy or something. Like it was unbelievable. But I agree. I wonder, like, the draft is an interesting way of doing it, but then it's also interesting, like almost the same sort of thing we've been talking about the lottery and stuff. Like it'd be kind of funny to have some sort of random fun way of picking like the conferences, so people are like, oh no, like, I ended up in that one, but and then do you change every year, or do you stick in your conference going forward?
No, we change it up every year. We started doing we did that one year and it was like same results as last year.
Yeah.
Or like it was some teams were like one conference was super stacked, the other conference sucked. And
Yeah.
everyone's like, this is trash. Like I should be in the playoffs.
So you get to the championship game, and then because you're in the championship game, you get to draft your conference.
Yeah.
That's
I think
interesting. I kind of like that.
yeah, you get to pick for next year, so you
Yeah.
better pick good.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of responsibility for your I guess AFC and NFC champion of last year.
There's going to be a lot of votes after this, because there's a lot of things we've discussed. Like some of it's like, in the future, let's see how things go. And then, but like some of it, like especially like the conference thing, I'm ready to vote on right now. Like, do we go ahead with this? Because that'd be a ton of fun,
I mean, I don't think anyone really. We're already doing it. It's just like a ghost thing, like I was saying. Like we already have conferences, we just don't
Yeah.
know about it.
I guess
It probably would be fair. Just
embarrassingly, like I'm not that great at math other than addition, subtraction for accounting, but like I see that I play the same teams twice, but then that doesn't necessarily mean they're playing the same teams in my conference twice, right?
I don't really know how it's set up now in Sleeper, but I know it can be set up this way.
Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering if like, because we have the ghost conferences, I wonder if it's like there actually are conferences or if it's just kind of random, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know actually how it's set up, but I know I played teams twice, and it
Yeah.
was the same. And it was the same order that you
It was the
submitted?
same order. I didn't like the
Yeah.
same order part either. I didn't
No,
like that.
I
Yeah.
don't like it either.
So some scheduling things that can be done. And then I'm sure there's some scheduling tools because like I'm not smart enough to be like this team played that team, blah 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 blah. Like now we reverse like, so we could look into scheduling tools to get the final game of the season as the random too. So I like where your head's at with this one.
Yeah, we can we don't even need to like, that'll be a different vote. We do
Yeah.
after, if we do conference, and then what are we gonna do with the last week of the season? So get everyone's thoughts on that stuff.
I believe we actually made it through most of your list. I've lost track of time, but having a lot of fun. So, but looks like you have one more in here, and I'll let you get on your soapbox for this one.
I would just say we should increase buy-in, because $50, it's like nothing for the amount of time we all probably spend on this. So we should increase it, and then like we can make payouts flatter, which is fine. It's almost more fun when you're like you get paid out every round of playoffs you make.
Yeah.
Or you pass. So we've done that model in the past, and it works pretty well. Just because like even if you lose half your money if you make the playoffs, which isn't horrible, and then the rest just you give to the champ after you do the or whatever our allocation would be.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause
Yeah,
it's Dynasty League, right? It's about repeating over and over again, not necessarily, a huge steep payout, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Each year.
Gotcha. Yeah, I do agree that like if we do increase the buy-in, then there's got to be like more pay. It can't just all. I mean, John walked away with what a cool 450 this season, so he worked out pretty good for him.
There you go. It's right to the 529.
Yeah. Well, I got a couple ideas at the top of my head. I figured we've all talked about the quarterback one. And we're gonna have to vote on that at some point coming up. Probably that needs to be one of the first votes we do after an owners meeting. And I think for a quarterback, like with the 4 quarterback limit, I like having the limit at 4 because I think if you have 5, then you're gonna have like there's gonna be too many backups owned at that point, I feel like. And then if you get an injury, they're not gonna be available. I'm thinking more like we do like the IR exemption, and then like I want 1 taxi squad exemption so you can draft a rookie and hold them for a year, like, and not have that count against your 4. But I would say just like the 1 taxi squad and the IR exemptions would be sort of where I would lean with the quarterback position. Wondering if you have any thoughts.
I think that's fair. I mean, the math works. I think it's almost impossible any other way, because if you have backups, that's fine. But like you can't. If someone's hurt, the backup's obviously playing. So that'd be your IR guy.
Yeah.
But like, say I know I like the handicap myself, not handicap. I like to pick up the backups of like running backs. I forgot what we called that.
Handcuffing.
Handcuffing. There we go. And that I think that works for the quarterback as well. So like I like that model, because 4 was unfair if 2 of your guys are hurt and you're like, one of them's Mac Jones on your taxi squad or something. You're like, well, this is stupid.
Yeah, the injuries would really kill you this season. And then Edwin almost got destroyed by it in the finals. My thought with the taxi is just that like if we don't allow a taxi squad exemption, then only certain teams are going to be looking at quarterback, and that kind of like it limits what you can pick in the draft. And I kind of want like an open market where it's like you can draft anyone at any, like you can pick any position regardless of your team, and you at least get an exemption for 1 season, maybe not longer at quarterback, but that way you can at least draft the position to build.
Right. Yeah. I mean, think about a lot of these guys sit on the bench the first couple of years anyway. So
yeah,
you're gonna need it. Yeah, I agree with that rule change, or just opening more quarterbacks in general.
Yeah. And then, like you said, like you're only replacing an injured guy, so it's not like you're really stashing a bunch of people on your team. So, but that will be our first vote, and we're gonna have an owners meeting too before we do any of those votes. So get that lined up before the draft. The other thing here I wanted to get your thoughts on is tight end seems like it's really like not like there's 10 teams, so it's like I know you only own one tight end, so there's an example. Like the tight ends are really devalued. Like it's too close to the startup draft, in my opinion, to make any changes. But I don't know, like I don't love a tight end premium that I've read about, and I'm the Mark Andrews owner, and I don't want to like suggest it because that's just totally unfair in my benefit. But like I've thought in my head, I'm like, should we start 2 tight ends? You'd start some garbage guys, but then maybe that makes it more interesting in owning like the bottom tier tight ends.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure. I think it's because like you can punt on tight end when you have 4 flexes. Like, well, I'll make up for it
Yeah.
if I have stronger wide receivers or something than someone else. I've never really heard of a premium. They just get more points than other players. Or how does
Yeah,
that work?
I think the way I've read it is like some teams do like full PPR for the tight end and then half PPR for everyone else. And again, like I don't want that, especially because I'm Mark Andrews. That would just be ridiculous for my team. But and going in, I didn't want it. But I know like that's something that some people do to kind of make the tight end a little more valuable.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Like we could take away a flex or something, or what else boosts the tight end? I guess handicapping the tight end nearby. Yeah, I'm not really quite sure what to do. If we want to make him more valuable, we could add another spot, but I'm like a big tight end punt guy. If you
Yeah.
don't have the top 2 tight ends, like punt, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Like I
that's how it's been for a few years now, and probably will be going forward. So definitely thought I'd toss that out there as something. A lot of like the changing, like the quarterback one is small in terms of like, you know, IR stuff and all that, but like some of these like adding like a tight end or something like that, it's like that sort of thing I don't want to be too close to the startup draft, because then like you said, I don't want to pull the rug out from anyone in their strategies that they made in the startup draft.
yeah. I guess we can ask the fellas here what they think of the tight ends.
Yep.
'Cause
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure either.
I'm expecting the message board to go a little haywire after this one. Stir up some, you know, stir the pot a little bit here.
Maybe I should unmute mine. I just muted it after fantasy. So I'm done.
He's ready for the monthly waivers and the lockdown. Just mute it all.
Well, yeah, I was grumpy when I got bounced too early.
Hey, it is tough. It does happen. Yeah. I know you and Mark were too early in the season. I thought you guys would be strong contenders, and then out and round one's tough.
Yeah,
If it makes you feel better,
fair.
I've been out since week 4. So
Yeah, I mean, the goal is to just make the playoffs every year because anything can happen.
right.
That's it. That's all that matters. Anything can
Exactly.
happen.
I agree with that. One more thing I want to pick your brain on before we call the podcast is, you know, the rookie draft. It's 3 rounds, 30 players. It's like if we just put like a 2-minute limit on draft picks, it's gonna go by so fast. I almost want like no time limit is crazy because then I know my brother, and I'll throw Alex under the bus on the podcast. He's gonna take like 2 hours to make a selection if I say no time limit. But I almost want to make it like 10 or 15 minutes and like kind of encourage during draft trades. I think that'd be kind of fun.
So here's what we do in the other league that works pretty well. For the first round, we just have the draft is over like a week or week and a half.
Wow.
So just 3 picks, 2 to 3 picks a day. I think the first round is 2 picks a day, and then I think the second round we move it to like 3 or 4 picks a day. But unless someone makes a pick real quick, then we're like, all right,
Yeah.
just go. And it seems to work. No one's really too much of an asshole. Everyone just like, dude, hurry up, like stop it. So it hasn't been that bad. So we could do that because then you can just sit there on your phone all day at work when you should be working and try and make plays rather than
we know
it's
I'll
like
be doing
tough
it.
when it's tough when you only have like I don't know 10 minutes to try and flip a pick. So like
Yeah.
you can't go around to everyone in the league and say like, you interested? Who you taking? I'm gonna take that guy.
Yeah.
You just hey, note to everyone. Just you ask that question. You just always just say you're gonna take that guy. I think everyone knows that, but that's a good one. I'm gonna take that guy. What are you gonna give me?
Right.
So,
but
we could do something like that.
yeah, Have you ever had situations though where like because it's over several days, like an injury occurs and changes things? Like,
Not during the rookie draft because no one's really
true. Yeah.
really playing football then, so it's fine.
Yeah. All right. That's definitely a good thing to consider. I one way or another, I wanted to make it like a regular redraft draft. It takes like an hour or something, and like you're all together. But like 3 rounds, if we just put it at 2 minutes, this thing would be like it'd be such a disappointment, you know. Whereas
there's
like I do want people trading. I want people, like you said, I want people kind of playing the poker game about who they want. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pick that guy. Like, I feel like that'd be like a lot more fun.
Yeah, I think if you give it more time, a lot more people will trade. Because I don't even like I'm not gonna trade up in the draft until I know who's gone.
Right. Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. I think everyone's in the same boat.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, this has been super helpful. I've saved your notes down to my computer. Gonna help me build the document for our first owners meeting coming up. Hopefully I can share a scheduling thing next week or just to kind of like get that together and we can meet quick, even like a half hour with the league, just to like figure out what we're going to vote on this off season. But that said, even without the owners meeting, I'm definitely putting the conferences vote up this weekend because I think that'd be awesome. It'd be kind of cool to like get that draft going with Edwin and John. So appreciate your input. Anything else that comes up, and always appreciate having you in the league, Travers.
Oh yeah, anytime, right? Anytime I'll be in the league.
Perfect.
I might retire from baseball soon. Who knows? I need to co-own so I
Well,
can make it past 6th place.
Looks like it's hockey season in Canada over there. So
Oh yeah.
awesome. Well, thanks for joining. Hang on if you want to chat a little bit, but for everyone else out there, thanks for listening to the All Aboard podcast. We'll see you next time.